We can start now. Is everybody on board? And we will start a presentation. Wait, I have to push share screen, of course. Before I do that, I will show myself. Wait. Now, it's time to start, I guess, isn't it, Wendelijn and Peter? Yeah. So, hi everybody. We're with almost 80 people together in this first international online get-together hosted by the Future City Foundation, and this time we do it together with the FIWARE Foundation. So welcome Ulrich Ahle as our main speaker today.
Hello.
Yeah. Ulrich is in my top what FIWARE is, on who we are and what we do. Frank is working at the ministerial because he also has a tool which is called A Slimme Stad Zo Doe Je Smart City in Minutes, to give us a welcome from.
Yeah, a big welcome right near the beach. Not allowed to go there at once with all of our from the Dutch Ministry of Interior in the agenda in English. Multi-level government, which is on a new innovative cities work, knowledge institute with corporation branches. For this instance, it's smart cities. When you introduce a new topic, it first evolves on a city level, and we as a national government, we always lag a bit behind. But these cities, they come to us and they say, well, we have this new thing, for example, electric car sharing, or for this instance, smart cities, and we want to work with you. But the national government has like so many branches. You have the Ministry of the Interior, for economic affairs, for infrastructure, from education, and we don't know which part we need. I guess all of them, but how can we work together with you? So then we start a city deal. So my team, we have deal makers, we call them. They search through the national government from which branches you need to tackle such a new subject, and they bring them together. And then along with, for example, 10 cities, we try this new working method, and if it works, then everybody has to implement it in their organization. And this, like I said, you can also do this with universities, or universities of applied sciences, or even corporations. And if it works in these 10 cities, for example, then we'll take it to the branch organization of cities, the VNG in the Netherlands, and then we try to implement it in other cities as well. So it's a platform for innovation, and we have like a slogan: we work for better funding, for better knowledge, and for better regulation. So these are the three branches we work by, and we're now in the startup phase. That's what Jan Willem is already doing, like talking blisters on his tongue. I'm not sure if that's the English pronunciation, but anyway.
But it's what it is.
So that's what it is. Going like through all these companies, to all these cities, aldermen, colleagues of mine at the ministry, to make a new cooperation.
Yeah, thank you so much, and thank you for joining us again here. I will show you people from all over the world. I will show you some slides, and then Ulrich will take over, and he will give the real interesting talk. And of course, what Frank told was also very interesting. Thank you so much, and thank you for working together on this city deal.
Yeah.
Share screen, and then go here, and then click. Does everybody see my presentation now?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, top. Kijken. Yeah, here it is. So welcome again on the second meeting. The program for today is this. We'll show you some very quickly some slides of what we do, We already had Frank Reiniers, we're a flexible organization, so we change everything doing on the job. Then we get a lecture by Ulrich Ahle, which is the CEO of the FIWARE Foundation. And then there is time for questions and discussion. And then everybody can raise our own glass, because we started this online meetings because we missed the drinks together. And therefore I bought a beautiful bottle of Leffe summer beer, so we can already join a little bit of the summer. There are some practical things you need to know, and that is that during the lectures we did put everybody on mute, so your microphone is switched off, and that is because to prevent the background noise. And but it is still possible to ask questions to Ulrich. And after the presentation, Ulrich and I will skip to the questions and answer them. And you can ask questions by the chat function, which is in Zoom. And that's underneath. When you go down, you can see the chat button. And you have to ask the questions to everyone, so we can answer them. But if you want to chat with somebody you really like, because this is still drinking, right? You use you select the one who you want to send a message to, and so that is that. And then everything can go wrong, of course. What can go wrong is that you don't hear anything. Then you have to click join with computer audio. If you want to see everybody in one screen, you can find in the top right of the Zoom video display mode, and you can change it from speaker view to gallery view. And in the gallery view, you see a lot of people, and in the speaker view, you only see the one who is speaking. And if you're not, if people can't hear you, that is because we muted you. If we can see you, that is because you put out the video. And if you want to be heard or seen, you have to unmute or start the video. So this is me. I'm working at the Future City Foundation. And the Future City Foundation is a movement of communities around interests in the field of smart city. We are a FIWARE iHub, and Ulrich, you will tell us more about what an iHub is and how we are connected. We also have, we are in Europe, we are connected to FIWARE. In the Netherlands, we are connected to a lot of a local organization. And in this slide, the city deals not already put in, but we will do that next time. We are doing on partner science, so we work together on those teams, and that partner science brings us real public and private partnership, and we connect smart and city. And the goal is real public-private partnership. What we do is we focus on awareness and we think about vision. We work on processes and we do some projects. And is this urgent? Well, you're all connected, so the answer to you is already yes, but to convince other people these slides can help. It is urgent because the internet is changing everything. And just like the music industry has changed for the last 20 years completely, the city will do as well. And in this transition, tasks will disappear, but also new tasks and new opportunities, and also a new room for example, the politics and the citizens will appear as well. We made a book on how cities, villages, and regions are changing, and that's called Smart City, This is How You Do It. It's also in Dutch, and then it's called Een slimme stad, zo doe je dat. We did it with 26 partners, and these are the conclusions. What we said is there are 4 principles, designing principles. We want a sustainable and democratic city. in it, we design everything as a democratic smart network, and therefore we also love what FIWARE does. We design flexibility, and we design it meaningful. And the question is, how do we get there? How do we arrange this? Sorry. And there are 4 topics we have to work on. We have to work on how the public administration is changing because of digitization and technologization. We have to we have to work on the technical part. That's what Ulrich will talk about. We have to work on politics and ethics, and we have to work on urban planning. So in this year, we will do that in 4 movements. The first is about that question, how public administration and politics will change because of this industrial revolution we're in. Urban planning will go on from the book to the city deal, which Frank already told us about. We're doing a project on smart and green and how, what's that called? No, how the green world is changing because of thinking in systems and bringing understanding more what biodiversity means. And we're very proud that we're part of a project called Score Water. And in that project, which we do together with FIWARE, we focus on how data connected to, for example, wastewater, flooding, and stormwater, how we can use data on that topic to understand more what's going on. And we use European cases on it. We do it in Amersfoort, Barcelona, and Göteborg. And if you want to know more on that, Van der Leyen will give you right now a link in the chat where you can find more information. And the city deal, to end with, we started the design principles May 13, when hopefully we can go out then, and otherwise we do it online. May 13, we're starting with a kickoff. We do, and till May 13, we do some online events. That's new. We make a long list of what tools we need to get one step further, because the goal of this city deal is to find tooling to not reinvent the wheel time after time after time. So when we don't invent the wheel again, we can really get further on. Yeah? And that's what we do in the city deal. So we get to 12 tools, then we will sign the deal, and then we will develop, test, and implement, and afterwards secure what we thought out. And then we will change it to the world. So that's my presentation, very brief, but you can find much more information on the website. And we have a beautiful button in which you can read it in every language you prefer. So we fixed that technically. And then I will go over to Ulrich. Are you there?
Okay, yeah, I'm there, Jan Willem. Thank you very much. I just need to start my presentation.
There you are.
Here I am. I'm dialed in by phone and also with my computer, but my fixed line connectivity today is a bit weak. Therefore, for my voice, I'm using my phone, and that's maybe also the picture you see actually. Yeah, welcome to the Netherlands and to Israel, what I learned, and to the virtual Caribbean. A very good afternoon. I'm Ulrich. I'm CEO of the FIWARE Foundation. And what's FIWARE and what I'm doing, what we are doing, that's part of the next 15 minutes. That's at least the plan. So our new digital life will gravitate around data and around what we call context information. So information describing what's happening around us, how a city is feeling, how people are doing, and what's happening when, where, why, in any place. And what we see very often is that this information and this context information are organized in silos due to the fact that interfaces don't fit to each other, that data models don't work together, that company policies or state regulations do not support the exchange of data. And our mission at FIWARE is to break down the silos and to make data and information available on platforms, to use this information for, on the one side, reduce the cost of operating a city when we talk about the smart city context, and on the other hand, to increase the quality of life of people living in the city. And every time when it's possible to address both topics, such projects and endeavors are successful. So what's FIWARE now? FIWARE is a framework of open source platform components. So that's the very first important message. The FIWARE Foundation itself is not providing complete open source platforms, but we are providing open source platform components. So different software building blocks, roughly 30 of them, where and that's the next paragraph here, where the FIWARE context broker is the most important and core component. And you see on the left side a very simplified software architecture of a FIWARE-based solution with a context broker in the center. And at the bottom or southbound, we have interfaces to get access to the different data. And on the top or northbound, we have software building blocks to process, to analyze, to visualize data. And then as a third or the second part marked in red on this slide, it is our standard interface, our standard API, which has been developed in the FIWARE ecosystem. It is called NGSI, Next Generation Service Interface, and became in the meantime not only a de facto standard in several countries, but a formal standard. And the simplified architecture I showed before is here displayed in a more detailed way. In this case for smart cities, but we are also addressing, our ecosystem is addressing other verticals with this technology, which is smart energy, smart agri-food, and smart industry. And as more and more activities in the area of water are popping up, and Jan-Willem, you just mentioned Score Water. We won another European funded project called FIWARE for Water. And we have several water activities based on FIWARE in different countries. That's why we are thinking about adding also smart water as another vertical, either integrated or as a separate vertical in addition to the four ones shown here. So again, this architecture, I don't want to go into detail here. The context broker in the center. At the bottom, the interfaces to get access to data using this NGSI, Next Generation Service Interface. And on top, functionalities like big data, like artificial intelligence, like functionalities to create dashboards and so on, to use this data which has been collected via the platform. And some standards which have been developed out of this FIWARE ecosystem. To start on the left, I mentioned NGSI before, and a bit more than 1 year ago, ETSI, which is a global standardization organization, declared NGSI LD. LD stands for linked data, so this interface is supporting also linked data principles, as the standard for context information management in smart cities. So it is now a formal standard used in more and more cities all over the world to create smart city platforms and smart solutions in cities. the center together with TM Forum, and that's what we started a bit more than a year ago at the second last Smart City Expo World Congress in Barcelona, together with TM Forum, which is a global organization of telco and IT companies, and together with several so-called front-runner smart cities, we started the creation of common data models. So not only answering the question how to transfer data, but also which data to be used. So by which data is a smart parking solution, a smart waste management solution, and so on described. And this further improves the replicability of solutions from one city to the other. And on the right side, you see the information that 2 years ago already, all member states of the European Commission have selected the core component of the FIWARE technology, the context broker, as a standard building block. It is called in a program called Connecting Europe Facility, which is creating the digital single market of the European Commission. Here, the standard building block, a new standard building block is now the FIWARE context broker. And it is now recommended by the European Commission to all European member states to be used when creating digital solutions. So really major milestones on the global standardization of technology for smart cities and digital solutions in public area. We are working together with another sister organization of us. It's called the Open and Agile Smart Cities. Here at the moment, more than 140 cities, and you see several cities also from the Netherlands, from 30 different countries are working together. All are committed to use standard APIs. And again, here, NGSI is the basis to use standard data models and to use common platforms for open data. And this is a monthly growing communities of cities, which is sharing this architecture, sharing this technology, and creating solutions in a way that it can be exchanged with each other and following the same design principles and technologies. Coming a bit to the history of FIWARE. FIWARE was created 9 years ago, starting in 2011, in the so-called Future Internet, PPP. This Future Internet is where FI in FIWARE is coming from, so it's a Future Internet where. And it was a public-private partnership of the European Commission with a lot of European companies. In total, 500 million euro were invested into the development of the technology and the ecosystem around. And to bring all this investment into a sustainable future, the FIWARE Foundation was created a bit more than 3 years ago by originally 4 companies: Atos, where I'm coming from, then engineering from Italy, Orange from France, and Telefonica from Spain. We as a FIWARE Foundation, we are headquartered in Berlin. We started with 5 people. We are now 28 full-time employees on the payroll of the FIWARE Foundation. And out of the 4 founding members, we have now more than 300 members in different member groups from all over the world. And our main tasks in the foundation are to manage this growing ecosystem of FIWARE, to industrialize the software, to enhance the original vertical focus of smart cities into the other verticals I mentioned before, and that's very important, to globalize FIWARE. Because in a digital world, we are more than convinced that an approach like FIWARE can only be sustainable when it is accepted and adapted on a global scale. These partners, which are part of our network, and most of them are members of the foundation, but you don't need to be a member of the foundation, as FIWARE is open source. So everything, the architecture, the APIs, the data models, and also the software building blocks are open source. They are available on GitHub and can be used by everyone. But most of these companies are members also of the foundation, and they created several solutions and products in the meantime using this technology, all using the same APIs, same data models, and can be combined like Lego stones to create bigger solutions. And they are shown on the FIWARE marketplace. We announced it a bit more than a year ago. And in the meantime, we have 14 platforms on this solution. So smart city platforms, but also smart industry and smart farming platforms, more than 130 solutions, and also hardware devices, service offerings, and so on. And let me give you now a few examples, very few examples, how this technology are used. First, two examples for platforms. One is from Atos. It's called the Urban Data Platform. So following the reference architecture I showed before, collecting all the data and using this data to create smart solutions. Second one is from NEC. They call it the Cloud City Operations Center. So NEC from Japan also joined us. They won in the meantime Bristol in England, they won Santander in Spain, they won Lisbon in Portugal, and also in the meantime the first 6 Japanese cities which are creating and implementing their smart city platform and solutions based on FIWARE technology. And let's now come to a few solutions which are used on top of these platforms. As you talked about core water and flooding systems, I selected one example from Montevideo, capital of Uruguay in South America. They are one of the few end users who are not working together with a system integrator. They build up FIWARE know-how on their own, created a full-blown smart city platform, which they have implemented in the meantime, managing traffic flow, managing the public transportation via it. So very, very well advanced. And this is a project where they implemented a lot of sensors in the city, because sensors measuring water level in the sea, in the rivers, in the water canals, connecting floodgates with their SCADA systems. And they quite often have the situation of heavy rainfalls in the backlands, which causes flooding situations in the city, as you can see here on the picture. And so these sensors are installed and they have a real-time flood warning system. And the project they are working on actually is not only to use the sensor data, but to use what they call soil hydrological models and also meteorological models in combination with what they call hyperlocal data from the citizens. So citizens have dedicated apps and they get also data from there. And combining all this information, this context information, describing what's happening in the city, they are creating a prediction model. A prediction model which is used to create personalized warnings for the people. So the owner of the black car you can see there will get in the future a personalized message with 90% of probability there will be 1 meter of water in 20 minutes at the place where your car is parked. So it might be better to put it somewhere else in a bit higher level. Yeah? And this is Uruguay, where most of us might think they are producing nice beef and so on, but it's really impressive. I've been there last year 2 times and really impressive to see what they have done. Another example is from Spain in this case. It is quite a good example for smaller cities. The province of Badajoz is the largest province in Spain, size-wise, but they have not big cities. The provincial capital, Badajoz itself, has 150,000 inhabitants, and then they have several cities of 30,000, 50,000, 40,000, and they decided it doesn't make sense at all that every city creates its own solution. So they created for the whole province one platform, again, based on FIWARE, in this case, based on the FIWARE platform from Telefonica called Thinking Cities. And on this platform, they have in the meantime 29 different smart solutions. You see them on the left, starting with smart waste management, smart lighting, smart water, smart tourism, and so on, which can be selected and picked by the different cities. And then following on the right side, based on the platform, they have a common business intelligence and big data analytics functionality. They are creating KPIs. In the meantime, also used to do benchmarking between the cities. So to learn from each other, where's a city doing well? How could we learn from each other? They have common executive dashboards for the city decision makers and so on. And this is for me an excellent example how also a region could invest into smart technologies, could create a smart platform and use it to increase the quality of life of the people living in the region. And as I said, reducing the cost of operating the cities in the region. And this is also a success story of this program Connecting Europe facility, as it is based on the FIWARE Context Broker. And a last example, where I have only this text and where I'm not allowed to show or to display or disclose the company who has created it, nor the country where it is used. But given the actual situation, I thought it is worth to mention it. This is a solution, again, based on the FIWARE Context Broker and a FIWARE-based platform, where a region which is severely affected from the coronavirus used this platform to monitor, trace, and provide statistical analytics with regards to infected people. In the meantime, more than 6,000 doctors and hospitals are connected. So the information about the infected people is provided in what we call right time. It's not directly real time, but several times per day, this information is updated. And they also have information about the infected people. They have the information about the localization of these people. They know the contacts these people had. And this solution has been created early March within 5 days. Using the FIWARE framework, using the existing platform this company had. And we yesterday had a session with the European Commission to start to talk about how this solution could be provided also to other countries in Europe. And I had the privilege to see the live system on Monday evening. And I can only say it's impressive. It's impressive which information they collected and how this information could be used to reduce further infections and to manage the effects of this COVID-19 pandemic. Really, I'm really impressed about this solution. Yeah, finally, what are the advantages of this open source platforms like with FIWARE? And why are so many people and end users are using it? The basic software, the architecture and the generic enablers, as we call them, is available for everyone for free forever. It is open source. There is a large open source developers community, which is maintaining and further developing this software components and building blocks, actually working in the area of blockchain integration, artificial intelligence, robot integration, and edge computing. Then we have a large group of global corporate companies, as well as small and medium-sized companies and startups, which we need for the innovation potential in our ecosystem, which are using this technology and providing smart solutions and platforms and also services based on FIWARE. And in this combination, FIWARE-based solutions are providing the lowest possible cost of ownership for the end users, and in this case, for the cities. And another very important part, maybe the most important part, is that by using standard APIs and standard data models, you can avoid or at least dramatically reduce what we call the vendor lock-in effect and keep the freedom of choice of selecting your partners when implementing such solutions. And here, as I haven't put in a slide on the iHubs, where the Future City Foundation is one of this iHub network. In our global network, we have actually 15 of these local centers which are providing know-how to FIWARE, which provide the ability to come together, to get experience, to share experience with FIWARE. As I said, 15 actually globally, several of them in Europe, but also, for example, in Brazil. We are opening a new one in Argentina now. Another one is starting in India soon. So FIWARE is getting more and more global. Yeah, and this is FIWARE, the open source platform technology for our smart digital future. And if you would like to learn more about it, you will have the chance to visit our FIWARE Global Summit, which is planned. And I hope in autumn we will be able to have also physical events again on September 28th and 29th in the beautiful city of Malaga. It will be very nice there in late September in the southern part of Spain to meet people, to get to know about solutions in FIWARE, and yeah, and to have fun and enjoy the region. So that's it from my side.
Thank you so much.
Boring. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ulrich, and I'm so much looking forward to Malaga, just because what you say, it's interesting, but also the fun and the beer and being together again. Can you please stop it sharing the screen so we can have see each other again? Yeah, yes. Great. Thank you so much. And what we will do now is that I will ask you some questions which are asked in the chat, and if other people will also have questions, please use the chat function to ask them. And you can also, when your Dutch is better than your English, like it's in my case, you can also ask the question in Dutch, and then I will try to translate it to you, Ulrich. Is that okay?
Yeah, maybe, yeah, yes, of course. And maybe just to start with the latest question which came in, you have the presentation, Jan Willem, and you may provide it to the participants here. So we are open, and
Great.
Of course also the presentation can be shared.
I already promised that in the chat, so I was.
Okay. I couldn't see it while presenting.
I was hoping for that. So yes, of course, the presentation will be shared. Then scrolling upwards, there is a question from Boke de Pater, and he says, "Hi Ulrich, thank you for your inspiring webinar session. My question is, who is providing all data to FIWARE platform environment? Did you encounter GDPR and/or ethical issues? And if so, how did you deal with these?" So this is about the privacy and GDPR part of using data.
Yeah, first of all, these platforms are collecting all publicly available data, or also data which are provided by organizations, by companies. And as we are in Europe, and as the system is based on European values, we are, it is according to GDPR. And for example, in cases where we are using the multimedia functionalities of FIWARE, also here we are, when they are, for example, faces, they are pixeled, and it is not possible to share any personal information. So to get face recognition, for example, or when we are using sound analytics, we are not doing any speech recognition. You might have heard of a solution in Eindhoven at Stratum Sign. Yeah. That's also based on FIWARE, where the system is getting information from cameras, but here the faces are already pixeled in the camera. Okay. And only the moving patterns of the people are analyzed. There are microphones, but only used for sound analytics, so no speech recognition. And what's done is publicly available social media information. But, so what's actually...
But Ulrich, to understand this correctly, it's not up to the FIWARE solutions FIWARE is also used, for example, outside of the European Union. You gave the example of Uruguay, and it's also used in Japan, for example, when I'm right. There are other laws. So what you're basically saying is you can implement the questions coming from such a law into the FIWARE solutions, right?
Yeah, that's right. So there are also, and you are right, in other regions, on other continents, there are also other solutions implemented, which are, for example, using face recognition, but that's not used here in Europe. But Jan Willem, maybe I'm looking at the time, and originally it was planned at 22:04 to have a first drink. May I have a first drink? And first toast here into the round. And you see, I have, it looks nearly like a caipirinha. So Paul, hello to your virtual Caribbean, but it is just a ginger iced tea with a bit of lemon and mint, but cheers to the round. Huh?
I will unmute everybody so everybody can say cheers again.
Okay.
Cheers.
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 Cheers, guys.
Now we hear there are other people.
Yeah.
Very good.
I hear people, I hear kids. Welcome.
People,
and
kids,
my dogs.
And dogs.
Kids and dogs.
Okay.
I will move.
Sorry for this interruption.
No, it's very good, and it's very good that you took the time on this one. I will mute you all again, and then I'll unmute you, Ulrich. And do you hear me now, Ulrich?
Yes, I do, and hopefully you may also. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So another question is about the Common Ground movement. Do you know that movement?
No, I have to be honest.
Then I will, because Jan Koers asked that question, and I will put him in. Unmute. Jan, do you hear us?
Yes, I do hear you.
Yeah, can you ask the question to Ulrich?
Yes, for some 2 years ago now, the municipalities in the Netherlands have started a movement in which they are trying to create a new information architecture for their activities within municipalities, which is based on separation of layers, of data layers and of functionality layers, exactly what you have been presenting as well. Within that movement, there has been programming of product parts as well. And I'm very curious if the FIWARE platform might provide components which fit in that architecture.
Yeah, thank you for this question. I would be more than open to have a look at that. As I mentioned before, I'm not aware actually about this initiative, but the FIWARE ecosystem is open for both ways. So to analyze the work which has been done in this initiative already, and to figure out whether there are some white spots where building blocks of FIWARE could fit in. But on the other hand, if the results of your work are provided also as open source, we would be more than interested also to have a look what's been realized there already, and could be possibly integrated also into the FIWARE framework. We have here a process to create so-called incubated generic enablers, so incubated software modules, and we have several of them which came from completely different sources and now are part of the FIWARE ecosystem and are used all over the world. So if you could provide some information to me, I would come back to you and would be more than open on this.
Jan, is that an answer to your question?
Yes, it is. I think, well, what I have seen and know about it is that the products within the Common Ground movement, which are developed in open source, not everything is developed in open source, but some parts are developed in open source, are being published on GitHub, for instance, so they are available as well. And I think a lot of municipalities are coping with questions and developments which might be linked and combined with what you are doing within the FIWARE community. Of course, Dutch municipalities may have specific standards and models that are only relevant for Dutch municipalities, but they still can be used to integrate within the FIWARE environment, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
You see, I've been traveling a lot last year. I've been in so many different countries. And my experience is, even being in South Korea, in Argentina, in India, that at least 80% of the requirements are the same. And only smaller parts are specific to the different countries or regions.
Okay. Thank you. And another question is from Brigitte, and she asks if there are already examples of examples for managing breakthroughs between the different silos. And what and then the next question: what made that happen, or what is needed? Which level of decision makers?
Yeah, there are a lot of examples, especially in the smart city context, where in the past, or very often when we are starting with such initiatives, there are first solutions, also smart solutions in place. One city has created a smart parking solution, another one a smart lighting solution, smart water management solution, but all these solutions were silos. And the way to break down these silos, and we have a lot of examples in different cities in Europe and also outside of Europe, is to agree here on a common API, to agree on common data models, and then to bring this data from the different applications onto one platform. And for this, to be able to do so, you need to agree on common APIs and common data models, and then it is possible. And that's done in a lot of cases.
So it's all about standards now to get real smart cities, when I understand you correctly.
Yeah, that's
so
my experience. And maybe to give you one other example, also Germany is now slowly starting with the area of smart cities. I have to congratulate the Netherlands because there is a ranking of the European Commission for digital public services, where the Netherlands is within the top 4. The top 4 are Estonia, Finland, Spain, and Netherlands. And here Germany is ranked on position number 25. Sorry, after the Brexit, number 24 now. But you could imagine there are not too many countries after 24. And there is a difference of at least 5 years.
But Ulrich, why are we doing so well then?
That is a good question.
Thank you.
I can't answer it. I really can't answer it. But you are definitely, as Dutch people, more open to adopt digital solutions, and maybe your state organization is better supporting this adaptation and is providing the digital infrastructure. And here, Germany is definitely lagging behind.
Okay, so that brings us also back to Frank Renier's introduction talk. The last question, which I see in the chat, and then it's also time to really drink. Are the use cases where FIWARE is used, are they assembled somewhere? It would be good. That's a question from Erita Skandai. When I pronounce it correctly, it would be a source of inspiration for cities aiming to go smart. So can they be, for example, found on your website, or can we share them, or do you know that?
This is a weakness we still have at the moment. Again, the FIWARE Foundation is even a charitable non-for-profit organization. We are not doing projects ourselves. That's done by our partners. And we have started the process to collect the use cases and the success stories of our partners and to bring them all onto our website.
So,
Yeah,
but that's also, always, sorry to interrupt you. You say it's a weakness, but it's also the system, right? So you give it open source away, and everybody can do what they want to do, and it's not up to you if somebody uses if somebody uses FIWARE.
That's right, and every week, nearly every week, a new solution is popping up where we haven't been aware of before, which was created using FIWARE. But still, a lot of also our partners are asking for, please provide me a list of references, of success stories. And we started the process now to collect them. Some of our partners are not that willing to provide this information, maybe to their competitors. Yeah, you know, we have a lot of also big companies who are competing on the market, but jointly being member of the FIWARE Foundation. But here we will find a way, but it will take another 2 or 3 months really to be ready to then provide this information via our website.
Okay, and then people can find it on the website. If Dutch people want to know more about FIWARE, they can of course connect us as being the Dutch FIWARE iHub.
Of course.
Ulrich, I will. It's almost 4, so time flew away, which how we say it in the Netherlands. And I want to thank you so much for your for your inspirational presentation, also practical, so we really understand more about how the technique is changing the city, and in my eyes, it's even becoming a stronger city when you use FIWARE, because it's connecting everything together to one fabric, right? Yeah. So I want again toast on that one. Thank you so much, and
you're welcome.
And for everybody, next week we will do another international get-together. As long as we're in quarantine, we can do this. So, and afterwards we will go on with it. Thank you so much, and please stay at this Zoom room to enjoy the drinks and in each other. Bye bye.
Bye, thanks.
Bye bye.
Dankjewel, Jan.
Bye-bye.